Hello everybody, this is me, MC Gamer, now tuned on into the Zelda's Adventure Speedrun. This is actually the world record at the time of uploading. It's world record because nobody else really plays this game. This game was created back, I believe, in 1996. I could be wrong on that fact, I'm sorry if I am. And it was created for the Philips CDI system, and it's a pretty horrible system. The controls are bad, and this game is widely regarded as the worst game inside the Zelda series, and a bad game in general. First thing you notice, we got the wand there from the rock beside the first screen. That is our main weapon. We call it the Pimp Cane, because it looks more like a cane rather than a wand. And we grab here a pitcher from Gleb the Thirsty. Now, there are names for lots of these things inside the game. They were posted inside a transcript of the player's help guide. Like, you would call a number and they would help you on the phone to beat this game. And so they had all the names, but other than that, a lot of the names aren't publicly available. So in this game, the story is that Link has been captured by the Lord of Darkness, Ganon, which is spelled incorrectly, and you, Zelda, have to go and collect the 7 celestial signs to free him. So what we're doing right now is we're advancing through the beginning part of the game. We have a few things to do before the Shrine of Rock. In this game, there are a lot of items that are required to beat the game. And through this first part and on our way to the second dungeon, we get a vast majority of them. You'll notice here that there are a lot of unrequired items, such as shield and candle. Both of those items are unrequired, and getting them would be a waste of time and rupees. In this game, rupees are your currency as well as a source of magic. So what you will see me do later on when we use items that consume rupees is I'm going to need to make sure I have enough rupees to use those items for many things. Here we get the step ladder. This item does not require rupees. However, it is required to beat the game as you need it to advance in the first dungeon, the Shrine of Rock, which we're headed to right now. These enemies are moblins. At least I assume they're moblins. A lot of this game is just assumptions. As the first person to ever run this game, I had to develop the route. I played this game several times over. Undeads is the name of someone who actually created the route for the 100% run of this game. It was based off a Let's Play by Half Blind Gamer here on YouTube. And he basically did this game and did a 100% playthrough. That route, however, was unoptimized for speedrunning, and it got a lot of unnecessary items, a lot of unnecessary places to go, and in general, it just was not a speedrun route, and that's perfectly fine. So I took that route and went through it and found out what I needed to beat the game, and I optimized it to create this any percent route. Here we're entering the Shrine of Rock. It's the first dungeon of the game. You have to beat all 7 dungeons, and you have to beat them in direct order. We attempted to try to see if there was a way to do dungeons out of order, but alas, there's not. The first dungeon has to be done first, no matter what, because there's a river that blocks your way that you can only bypass if you have the red boots. And you get the red boots inside this first dungeon, the Shrine of Rock. So there we use the step ladder. That's pretty standard, just to cross that bridge. You'll notice that it takes a long time to go from screen to screen in this game. That's one of the biggest complaints people have with this game, as well as the strange sound effects and voice acting. I personally enjoy the voice acting. I think it's silly, but I agree the sound effects in this game can be pretty bad. Here we have one of the trolliest enemies, in my opinion, which ends a lot of my runs. Like at the beginning, this is my 14th attempt, as you can see, is that it is the Keiths. They are very bad in that they will invade your hitbox and just completely destroy you. You also notice I have a controller cam on screen. This is just a way of showing the inputs required for the game. It's very interesting for some people who may be interested in speedrunning the game. For more complex games, controller cam can be used to learn from. But in the case of Zelda's Adventure, where the controls are very simplistic, it more just kind of shows you a more facet of realism, what the controller looks like, and how the game operates. On the CDI controller, you'll actually notice that there, by the way, I got the Jade Ring from that chest. You need that to defeat Lort's minions here. They're called the Sardocs, I believe. Sardocs. And you need to use the Jade Ring. Here's our first instance of something that uses rupees. Notice how my rupee count goes down. I need to hit him 4 times with the Jade Ring magic. and then he's dead. You have to defeat Lort's 3 minions before you can actually fight the boss. Lort is the Shrine King. He's basically the boss of this dungeon. I forgot to mention his name. So, and it's spelled L-L-O-R-T, Lort. He's a pretty cool guy. We'll see him in just a few moments. But what was I saying? This game is pretty. It takes a while. And it's a good game though. A lot of people give it a lot more the crap than they really need to. Oh right, I was talking about the controls. That, by the way, that start off only requires 2 hits. We don't know why. The arrows are used to move, obviously. You press the second button, the 2, to access the menu. You use the 1 button to attack, and the 3 button is actually a built-in turbo button that was on the standard CDI controller. So I use it a lot of times just to whack, just like when I enter a screen, just hold down that button. Alright, so right here you'll notice I get caught on the wall stuff. That's a huge problem with this game is sometimes it's the way the geometry is of the levels is just really badly made, and it can end up, just completely wasting time in general, just because you get stuck on a small pixel that you wouldn't normally think that you could get caught on. Here's the red boots. You need this to cross over the river, and that's why we get them, as well as it's along the way to beat the first shrine. Alright, this room is dark. You can illuminate it using the candle, but like I said, the candle's not required. You can just kind of, like I just did there, feel your way across the room. It's pretty simple. Here's Lord.
This is my cave, mine. This is the Shrine of Rock, and I am Lord. Go away. Take nothing. It's all mine.
So Lord is the first shrine boss, the Shrine King, and he has many jewels, and he wants you to touch nothing. It's all his. So we're going to not listen to him at all, seeing as we've already taken the Jade Ring, and we're going to kill him. We're going to kill him, and we're going to take all his money. That's our plan right now. It's going to be great. So that Sardock has been taken care of. He only requires 4, and I also go back to equipping my my wand here, the Pimp Cane, because it is a weapon that works against Lort. So let's take Lort on here. I don't know if I die in this battle. A lot of these boss battles you'll see in the game, I do die to, and that is time I could save if I was doing a better speedrun, and that's it's part of the game. The bosses move inside a very I died a very strange way. Like they sometimes have patterns, they sometimes don't. I honestly do not know what is up with them, but it's fairly easy to battle them, but at the same time, if they walk on top of you, and this goes for any enemy in the game, if they walk on top of you, it's like GG, you're dead, because their hitboxes are just like so impossible to escape from. You can't do much. So you'll notice a lot of times, like, it doesn't even make sense how I'm hitting them, because their hitbox is so huge. Some enemies have tiny hitboxes too, and it's the inverse effect. Okay, there we beat Lord. You'll notice my rupee count is going up here as I enter the room. That's because we stole all of Lort's jewels. It doesn't happen for the other, the other bosses for some reason. Anyway, here we go. We got the first celestial sign, and here's Gaspra. He's an elder, and he is going to speak to us about where we need to go next, and he gives us some kind words, but we're not going to listen to him because he's boring and old. He has some great hand movements, though, you'll notice. Like, look at that finger. I sometimes reenact the finger movements. I don't know if I do it on this one. I don't think I do. Anyway, you'll notice on the left I have the splits. The Shrine of Rock I completed in 8 minutes and 40 seconds. These are used during a speedrun to keep track of your time, and if you do future speedruns of the game after your first one, it shows you how well you're doing in comparison to that run. The program I'm using is called WSplit, and I very much recommend it. You can download it on speedrunslive.com. Speedruns Live is also a great source for speedrunning races and watching live streams of speedruns. And soon it's going to have leaderboards as well. So I really recommend that website. It was founded by the guy Cosmo Wright. You may have heard of him. I just want to kind of give a quick introduction to speedrunning in general real quick. because a lot of you who may be viewing my YouTube channel may not know much about speedruns. Speedrunning is basically the act of beating a game as fast as possible using a set of conditions. Sometimes categories are made special so that you have different requirements, different conditions to win. For example, in Ocarina of Time, they have categories such as all dungeons, where you have to beat every single dungeon and then beat the game for that category to be official. Some of them require you to do any percent like this one, like just beat the game as fast as possible, but they have restrictions on it. For example, not using the reverse bottle adventure glitch. That's one of the restrictions. But in this case, I'm using any percent for this speedrun. Speedruns are basically beating the game as fast as possible using the restrictions or category that you're in. Using a combination of glitches, movement optimization, and tricks. So right there, we actually filled our water pitcher at the source of the river. You can notice we can now walk on that river thanks to the power of the red boots. So we're going to be bringing this water right now back to Gleb the Thirsty. But yeah, about speedrunning in general, you use glitches. In this game, we actually don't use glitches at all, but a lot of games use glitches to go faster. They're all glitches. All glitches are things you can do in the game using the base code. It's not like you're modifying the game in any way. You're doing things the developers did not intend, but the developers let into anybody can do that on their copy of the game. Just open up your box inside your living room and do it, Tricks are something that developers didn't really intend, but they're, usually things that you can do in the game regularly. They're not completely not supposed to be done. For example, side hopping over a fence that you may not be able to usually side hop over. And movement optimization is just making sure you move fast, go from place to place as fast as possible. For example, in this game, I make sure I route it out so I get the items in order so it's fast. So here we are. We're going to give the water to Gleb the Thirsty, and she will be very thankful, and she gives us the wind flask. And she says, bless. So bless us. I hate this screen. Those enemies there, I don't know what they're called. I don't like them. They shoot rocks, and they're evil. We do not like to mess with them.
Oh.
That woman says, oh, and we ignore her. We're at the Moblin's Head Inn. We come here for two actual items. First off is the Calm spell. The innkeeper is selling it, and he also wants us to have some cider on the house, which you'll hear in just a moment. As well as we talk to this guy in red, who's going to give us a dagger.
Head in, my princess. You look dry. Have a cup of Andor cider on the house.
Why spend a whole lifetime being defeated like me? Get it over with. Quit. Go home. Give up. You're patient. I can see you're not one to surrender. All right, take this dagger from me. It may do you more service than it ever did me.
So he rewards our patience and gives us a dagger. What a nice guy. Now we need a lot more items before we can actually head to the Shrine of Illusion. Like I said, we have to... Oh, I made a mistake here. I accidentally walked right back into the house. That is a small mistake, but it's not the most horrible mistake of the run. So from here, it's pretty straightforward. We need to actually go get some more items. And the first of those items is the raft. And actually, it's pretty efficient that we have to get the raft right now because it's on the way to Great Wimbish, which is a city in this game. It's basically the only place that has a store in this game. And it's pretty efficient that it's along the way. We also have a character here coming up, not on the screen, but the next one, where that I really enjoy. We call him the Mushroom Guy. I don't know his name. We don't talk to him either in this run because it's not fast. But he's a hilarious character. It's some sort of mushroom with a face, and we don't quite understand it, but this is Zelda's adventure, and we don't try to question things. We just play the game, and we just move. We just keep going. This part of the game is very dangerous and very hard to speedrun, and this is where I have a lot of resets as well, due to the fact that the game, you'll have the enemies that walk right on top of you, and it's horrible when they do. And that's bad. It's very bad when we have enemies walk all over you, and you have such low health. Oh, this guy's great here on the screen. I'll shut up and let you listen to him.
Hello there, miss. Watch how you go out in the meadows.
So I like that guy. Hello there! Oh, and I accidentally went onto the wrong screen there. That's another small mistake. Again, not horrible, but I should have gone up, not to the right. So I had to go left of screen. And it's pretty bad when you do mess up your screen movement, because it takes a while to load those screens. That is time. And I took damage there on one of those Tektites. I don't know if you saw them. They're blend in pretty well. And the bridges are pretty bad in this game, because you can only walk over that original river that we walked over with the red boots. The rest of the rivers you cannot. Here's the raft, though. We have to defeat these Tektites who are guarding it, though, and they're very powerful, these Tektites. They like to walk right into your hitbox, but I got lucky this time. So we're going to head up now and ignore this lady who's selling a guitar and a candle. I have no idea what the guitar does. I've never bought it in the game, and I've never used it, so... hey there. That guy is, his name is Lounger, and he has a dog who's named Frank, and he's I like that guy. I like him a lot. And going back to speedrunning in general, for a lot of you who maybe have never done speedruns before, never watched speedruns before, please do not take this game as an accurate representation of how speedruns usually go. This is a slow-paced, boring, and bad game. But I enjoyed speedrunning it. I might do more attempts, because this run I do finish with a time 1:37:11. But it's like this game, it's very depressing to play. So maybe if I'm in a bad place one day and I want to improve my time, I will. But for right now, I'm fine with having this 1:37 run, and we'll tackle it another time. I might do another commentator run, or upload it if I do get a better time. In speedrunning, that's one of the biggest things that you got to do, is you have to keep playing. Like once you get a good time, that's not the end of it, because you can improve your time and everything. I'm going to be putting a lot of my speedrunning efforts into the Wind Waker, which I also speedrun over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/SuperMCGamer. That game has a lot more glitches. It actually has glitches, I should say. It has a lot of really fun moon optimization. The game looks great. And it's a really fun game to speedrun. I really recommend it for speedrunning and watching. They do speedruns of pretty much every game across the world. There's Super Mario 64 speedruns all the way to StarCraft 2 speedruns. It's pretty crazy. Right now inside the game, however, we're heading to get the Lance. This is an item we won't be using until the Shrine of Power against one of my favorite characters in the game. However, we need to get it now because we're going along the way, and getting it now would be a lot more efficient than after the Shrine of Destiny, which is our last time that we're going to be inside this general area. There's basically 3 dungeons at the top of the map, the Shrine of Illusion, the Shrine of Air, and the Shrine of Destiny, and 3 along the bottom, the Shrine of Rock, Water, and Power. However, the Rock is inside the lower left-hand corner, while the other 2 are inside the bottom right. I got pretty low on health there. That was pretty scary. If I was to die inside the forest, that would, for me, trigger a reset. I would try again, because this is the trek to get the Lance is a pretty hard one, because you can get trolled by these spiders, the big ones. That's why I hide behind this rock there, and I do want to try to kill him and hopefully get a heart. I don't, but I get some rupees anyway, so it's worth it to me, because I don't want to be low at rupees at the end of the game. That would be very unfortunate.
Not everyone here.
Okay, so this guy is going to give us the Lance. I don't know who he is or why he looks like he's a dying skeleton, but he gives us the Lance, and we are successful. And now we're going to actually head to the river. Not the one that we can cross unless we have to use that log bridge again. The log bridge is very essential to speedrun, and I could probably do some more optimizing for making this part here that we're going to see better and faster, because it is the log is, yeah, see right there, I almost went to the right. I was trying to figure out what I need to do, and this part of the speedrun kind of confuses me, because there's 2 things we need to get: the feather, the broadsword, as well as the spell of noise. And they're both inside this general area, but the log bridge, I'm not explaining this very well, am I? The log bridge prevents which way you can go. And I walked right into that guy, and I'm going to punish him for hitting me. I was hoping he was going to give me a heart, but alas, he didn't. This guy, however, also does not give me a heart. So we're just going to keep trekking along the way, trying to find the these items. I have them mapped out. During my research portion of this game, I did a lot of looking into where certain things were. I'm going to kill this guy. I'm really low on health, so I do kill enemies that are not required in hopes to get an extra heart. And see, I succeeded right there. Okay, so that was the log bridge right there. That log bridge is very instrumental. So the first thing I'm going to do is, while I'm here, I believe I grabbed the heart container. I could be wrong. We're going to find out here in a moment. I just make a run for it. Correct. Okay, so I'm here. So I'm going to head down into this little cave. And this is where you can get the first extra heart container in the game. I get extra heart containers in this game. It's not fast. It's not fast to do this. However, in the game, there are a lot of points where you have to walk through enemies purposefully. Later on, you'll see inside the Shrine of Water especially. And having extra health is crucial. It's, in my opinion, it's definitely worth the extra, like, 20 seconds there to go and grab that extra heart container, because it reduces your, like, chance of dying exponentially, that extra heart. So got to watch out for that rock throwing guy. To me, this is the most boring part of the run, because it's like pretty much the longest portion of the game where you're not inside a shrine. Because right here, after we get all the items that we're going to have to get, we're going right from the Shrine of Illusion to Air to Destiny, and it's pretty good. Those guys both dropped hearts, which was very nice of them. Helps me get my health back up. Here we have the character whose name is Gwendolyn. We refer to her as Hooker Lady, and she is going to give us some noise.
You look tired, my lady. I have something you may be able to use. It creates a noise. Use it when you must.
So thank you to Gwendolyn. She gives us the noise spell. This is used to kill Pole's Voice in this game. Pole's Voice are enemies from the original Legend of Zelda and other Zelda games, and they are indeed inside this game as well. However, they're not bunnies. They're actually big, giant, blob goo monsters, but you can only kill them using the noise spell. And it is required, actually, to get the noise spell, because there's a Pole's Voice that you have to defeat to open a gate to advance inside the Shrine of Illusion. So we get this now. But why we do all the stuff before the Shrine of Illusion is because we have to go over to that noise spell. That's the reason we choose to do this all now, because we're already walking about everywhere, grabbing everything else. So we might as well, you know, just do it before the Shrine of Illusion, since we have to go over there anyway to get the noise spell. Got hit there by a Skulltula. I did not want to, but whatever, not a huge problem. So here again, we're going to walk across the log bridge. Now that we've taken care of everything on the right-hand side. Our next mission is to get the broadsword, I believe. Actually, no, we're going to get the feather. That guy likes us, but we have to walk inside his house and then leave his house to trigger his next text thing, which we need. I'll let him talk.
I would like to give you a feather as a sign of my affection. This will take you to new heights.
And so this guy is kind of creepy, but he gives us a feather, so we're going to acknowledge him as a nice guy. The feather is required inside the Shrine of Air for reasons we'll talk about once we're there. But for right now, we're going to continue on towards the Shrine of Illusion. But first, we need to stop and grab the broadsword while we're up on this side of the river. The broadsword is also not required until the Shrine of Power at the tail end of the run, but we get it now because it's right here by the Shrine of Illusion on the left-hand side of the river. Because basically after this, we're not going to be doing much stuff on the left side of the river until the very, very end of the game. And here's Sir Basil. I'll let him speak.
Hail, Princess Zelda, friend of Shermac. I am Sir Basil of Tolamac, and Shermac has sent me to assist you.
You seem tired.
Alright, so that's Sir Basil. He is friend of Captain Paprika. And he's a pretty cool guy. Well, I don't know why they named him Sir Basil. It is spelled B-A-S-I-L, like the spice, but or the herb, whatever it is. But we have some interesting enemies coming up here soon. I believe they're not until the next screen, but we'll see. There was a moblin sneaking around inside that bush, and that surprised me. I grabbed some extra hearts. I believe it's this screen. Let's see. Indeed, these guys make laser noises and they look like orangutans and they have like a mushroom for a head. So we call them laser mushroom orangutans. I do not know any idea what they are, but whatever. Here is the second shrine of the game. Now that we've, taken care of all of our business, it's the Shrine of Illusion. So we fall down a trapdoor. Look for this cool animation here. Zelda sliding down the slide. Ready? That's the only time you'll see inside the game. I hope you enjoyed. These are Velociraptors. We're going to ignore most of them. I call them Velociraptors. I'm sure they have an official name, but Velociraptor seems cooler. These are Stalfo. They're standard enemies. Most of these enemies are all very similar. There are some enemies that you have to kill with certain items, but Stalfos are just ones that you hit with your cane of pimpage, I suppose. Cane of arthropods. Now we're going to go down here. We recently discovered that going over here is required. We thought at first it wasn't. And it's to kill this dragon thing. And it gives us a key right there. We need the key later on. In the Shrine of Illusion, the boss, the Shrine King, is Pasquinade, who is a strange thing. We don't even know if it's a person or what it is. But yeah, I like Pasquinade. Pasquinade is one of my favorite bosses inside the game. I got the map there. I didn't need to, but my instinct of grabbing the item kind of took over there. Could have stayed half a second. Here's the Pole's voice, which look like a bunny's normally inside the original Zelda, but they look weird in this one. So we have to hit him with some noise spell. One thing I like to note about like spells in general, you notice how I had a beam as well as my wand swing. It's very important to note that you must defeat enemies with the spell portion. If you hit the enemy with the portion of like your wand, it will not work. Alright, so we have to go across the bridge. It's one of the platforming bits. If you like are on the bridge and like it falls out underneath you, you go back to the beginning of the dungeon. Next, I equipped my dagger to kill these guys. You must use the dagger to kill the Wizrobes. This fight here against this guy is pretty bad. Why I need to kill these Wizrobes is an item you get, and it's very important actually to the run. It's actually probably the coolest part of the run in there. It's the 2 compass, the second shrine compass. You can see you need to get this compass because at the very end of the game, you will use it. When you use a compass, it teleports you to the dungeon that it was found in when you're inside the overworld. So we're going to be using that later on to get closer to the Shrine of Fire after going to the Shrine of Power. This room I take very slowly, and that's because these Wizrobes can knock you off. If you fall off this bridge, you are out of luck. Basically, if you fall off the bridge, you are sent back to the beginning of the dungeon. And it's very unfortunate. But I want to make sure I get over here and defeat these golden snitches. That's what I call them. And get the black orb, which is required to continue inside the game. We'll see why in just a moment. Here we have to cross the bridge again. I don't know if I fall off or not, so this is as stressful for you. Oh, yep, and I fall right off. And you see right there, I kicked my feet in anger because falling off there is less than efficient. It's not the most horrible thing that can happen. The enemies that we defeated are actually still defeated. You'll notice there'll only be 2 Velociraptors. Wow, the Velociraptors respawn. How interesting. I'm learning things as I sit here and watch my own run. However, I believe the Stalfos should be dead. I could be wrong, though. Yes, indeed, the Stalfo are dead. If we take the top door this time, however, this will take us directly to the Pole's Voice room. It's not helpful, though, to take this door into the first place because you need to get the key to advance. The Pole's Voice is dead, so we can continue on. Alright, so we have to cross the bridge again. Not a problem. So now that we have the black orb, we're able to continue on inside the dungeon. There's some more Wizrobes on the screen, but we're going to ignore them. Wizrobes are one of the worst enemies in the game. I rank them pretty highly inside. Very, very mean. Here's some golden snitches. They're pretty easy to defeat. They occasionally can troll you by getting inside your hitbox, but usually they're no trouble. Alright, this room, it's not required to defeat the golden snitches in this room, but I do it anyway for safety because they're everywhere. I could probably have skipped this guy, but I got paranoid and I wanted his heart. Luckily, he gave me heart. For some reason, I believe the golden snitches has a higher heart drop rate than any other enemy. So I use the black crystal, and that opens up the door here. So here we have the Yeti monsters. I refer to them as the Yeti monsters because they look like Yetis. They throw boomerangs, but they're pretty easy to defeat. And you get the knife inside this room. It's different than the dagger, and the knife has one use in the game, and that is that, opening up the door inside that room. So rather than when you defeat the Yetis, it opens it up. It just gives you an item that you have to purposefully go into the menu and take 10 to 20 seconds to do. And that's like, it's pretty insane. I don't like that. And I tried just to skip those Yetis and go directly to the next room, but I did get hurt a few times, so a bit unfortunate. Oh, here we go.
Look to your heart, look to your dreams. You'll find that nothing is what it seems.
That was Pasquinade, the Shrine King, and with some kind words that if you are a Zeldathon fan, you have embedded inside your brain for all of history. Look to your heart, look to your dreams. Wow, I forgot the quote. I'm bad. Look to your heart, look to your dreams. You'll find that nothing is as it seems. That's right. Okay, I got it. It's okay. I'm good. All right, so we got some more Stalfos to kill. Not a huge trouble. Most of these, most of the shrines are pretty straightforward. I believe inside the next room we have, probably again saying that ranks my top 5 least favorite enemies. I don't know what they are. I believe this is the room here. Yeah, I don't know what they are, but they shoot things at you and they move fast. In this game, there are 2 classifications of enemies that make you cry. Anything that shoots something and ones that move fast. And if you have an enemy that moves fast and shoots things, they are very OP. And I'm going to just try to skip them here in this room and advance. You had to kill the ones inside the last room, I believe, to open the door. So I had to kill them. This room has nothing in it. I don't know what it's for. Here we have some more Velociraptors. It's wise to kill them because Velociraptors are mean. And up here we have the Shrine King, Pasquinade. Very similar to Lort. His strategy is just to whack him and avoid his attacks. I don't think I die to him, but I might.
Come, sit and rest.
Let's see.
First, let me give you one
oh, I think I do, yeah. Pretty low on health because he goes right on top of me here. Yep. Okay. That's unfortunate. If I was doing another speedrun of this game, I'd probably play better than that. Because that's pretty unfortunate. Alright, so let's give Pasquinade another shot.
Welcome, my lovely. Come, sit and rest. But first, let me give you one small...
The music in this game, in my opinion, is pretty good. It's very good, actually. Overall, there's a lot of things that are bad with this game. But the music inside the dungeons is actually pretty good. There's no music outside the dungeons, which is disappointing, but whatever. Here we go. We got the second celestial sign with a time of 33:33. Very cool. Here we go. Got it. And I believe this is where I start doing my voice acting, indeed. Or my hand acting, you'll notice.
Victory, but your journey has barely
replicating
begun,
Sir
my
Gaspra,
child.
who has his telescope
Beware
there.
of dangerous waters that await you, and watch for the mists high in the mountains.
And we're going inside the telescope. And we're going to be making our way directly to the Shrine of Air. We have no items that we need to pick up along the way. We just need to get to the Shrine of Air. Alright, and again, that was the Shrine of Illusion, second shrine of the game. Now, up to this point, the game has been fairly slow-paced, and that we had to collect a lot of items before we could go to the Shrine of Illusion. However, from this point on, we're pretty much going from dungeon to dungeon, completing them all fairly quickly. There is a few items, I believe, we get outside the dungeons, but we'll encounter those as we go along. This was a little bit poor choosing of me, like trying to get back to the bridge, because as that log, we need to cross over to the right side. We need to go to the Shrine of Air. Something interesting about the Shrine of Air is it does require the feather, which we got from the man who is a little bit creepy. He's a pretty cool guy, though. Don't knock the creepy guy. You need the feather to beat the boss, and it is an interesting story. But I think I'll wait a little bit before we talk about this. A note about the guy I'm killing right now. He makes the movement like he's going to throw a rock like the other ones do. However, no matter how long you wait and watch him, he will actually never throw a projectile. He makes the movement as if he is throwing a projectile, but he actually does not throw a projectile, which I find really interesting because it's only him. He's the only bugged enemy that I've found in that way. So this way is pretty similar. We're going again back towards where we first got the noise spell from Gwendolyn, but we're going to be going to get to the Shrine of Air. Something to note about this game is a lot of times I defeat enemies when, in honesty, I shouldn't really need to kill them. Like I just am trying to get to the next area, like right there. But a lot of times it is very helpful to actually kill the enemies. Like on this screen, you will have your damage chain down a lot if you try to walk through them. And so it is more profitable time-wise to kill the enemies. If you were going for a really fast time, it would require a lot of strategy and a lot of luck to be able to pass by all these enemies. For some reason, Gwendolyn isn't there anymore on that screen. I don't know what happened to her. Maybe if you talk to the man, maybe he'll say something, but I don't know what he says. So right there, I grabbed a heart, and I thought I was going to be able to move on, but I decided to try to chance it to see if I can get a heart, and I just got some rupees. But again, no complaining, because the rupees are very useful in this game. At this point, I probably should have stopped collecting so many, but I kept going. Right there, I ignored them. I just kept going, which is fairly good. Oh, this screen has moblins on it. Pretty standard. And now a quick thing to, I don't think I mentioned this before, but you'll notice how my controller cam has the text nail polish tonight on it. It is a tradition of mine, kind of stemming from Cosmo Wright, who wears nail polish. He's the owner of Speedrun Live that I was talking about earlier. But if I get world record or a personal best, I will paint my fingernails for the rest of the stream. And so, indeed, I did paint my nails after this, and I got some soup, and I took a picture and posted it to my Twitter. You might be able to find it if you go back inside my history. Around the 7th of February, I believe. Maybe the 8th, I'm not quite sure. Alright, so we're beating up these birds there. Those are the purple ducks. Later on inside the run, we will encounter some green ducks that oink like pigs. I'm not joking with you. It is, in fact, something that happens in this game. I honestly do not understand either. Alright, but we're just keep moving on. The purple ducks do a lot of do a lot of damage, so I want to make sure I do kill them on the long way. Okay, there's that guy. He's a nice guy. He kind of reminds me of the "Hello there, miss" little guy from earlier. Alright, here we go. This is one of the coolest, interesting things about the game. This bird actually takes you to the Shrine of Air, which is apparently in the clouds. And it's the only dungeon that does this, and you can only access it later by using the compass, actually, I believe. Alright, so we have a strategy for this. So those little tornadoes, they do a fair bit of damage, and the only way to kill them is using the calm spell that we got from the inn. So my strategy in this is to just run through them and hope that you don't get hit much. And then we have this room, which we have to kill these bees because you get the bow and arrow, which isn't really a required item per se, but it's much more efficient than most of the other items because it only uses 1 rupee when you use it, and it's projectile, as well as it's right next to your wand on the inventory, so it's fast to get to. I do believe I die inside this dungeon. We have an interesting voice clip here. I'll be quiet for it.
You can never catch me!
Okay, so that was Avion, the boss of the Shrine of Air, the Shrine King. Here we have a very annoying enemy. I got lucky this time and he got cornered, and so when you're hitting him, he won't use his like projectile attack. But it is very not often that you get him cornered really nice like that. More golden snitches in this dungeon. They make a return from the Shrine of Illusion. I like these enemies a lot just because they're so easy to defeat. There's a compass, but we don't need it. We will not be returning to this dungeon at any time. It is very out of the way. Some more golden snitches. It's pretty standard. Coming up, we have a mini-boss that is, quite frankly, probably the worst enemy inside the game. I would say, when I got owned by that guy. He's the cloud guy. He's a cloud guy like the other one, but he moves inside a pattern, and if he gets on top of you, you take a lot of damage very quickly. Do I die here? I think I might die here. I die here. Yeah. Okay, so that was my death inside the Shrine of Air. You can see I retreated and was very angry there for a moment, but we press on, so I'm going to do the same strategies again. But this mini-boss is one of the harder enemies in the game because his pattern is set. However, it's hard to describe. It's the way he moves. It's hard to move around because he moves fast. He has a set pattern, but the pattern is very fast. And so one of the best ways I found to destroy him is to stand in one place and just wait. And it's a slow strategy. It's a very slow strategy, but it does work. And I screw it up, I believe, inside this run, as a matter of fact. But it's not a huge deal.
You can
could hear the voice clip again. There we go. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoy that. Alright, so again we have to beat this guy. Actually, I don't think it's actually required to beat him now that I'm thinking about it, because he should just be able to walk right over here, but it probably would be best to kill him anyway. Just because he usually does tend to favor the right-hand side of the map. Got more snitches. I would like to walk right through them, but they walk out of my way. You'll notice a lot of times in dungeons like this, I'll get caught on geometry that doesn't always make sense. So I always try to move very box-like, if that makes sense. You know, you wanna make sure you don't get caught. I do take this heart. Hearts are so valuable in this game. I cannot stress that enough. However, I do fix my previous mistake on the first attempt at this. You'll notice here I round the corner very tightly to avoid any enemies. I believe I do the same thing on this one. I think I would knock away one enemy out of the way. He actually got in and snuck an attack on me, but that's not a huge deal. Oh, I believe we had the turn of the Buzzy Bees. Actually, by their turn, it's the first time we were counting the Buzzy Bees. These are a fan favorite enemy. I do try to sneak by them, I believe, here. Yes, I do, indeed. There are a lot of situations like that where you just gotta time it, because one of the reasons why I do kill the enemies, like I was saying, how sometimes it's safer, is when you actually hit the side of the screen, like you're gonna go to the next one. There's a lot of times where it takes, sometimes a second to register that you're trying to go to the next screen, and you can get hit by enemies during that second, and it's like right there, I was like up against the wall for a few seconds now. Anyway, here's the mini boss. He's the only, I believe, one of the only characters inside the game that actually will give the boss death animation, the like the puff of smokes, the boop 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 boop. He's like one of the only ones that does that inside the game that isn't actually a boss. So my strategy for some reason started to fail here, and I was walking up against the electric fence. So I tried to reorient myself, and it didn't quite work out. As you can see here, when he moves, he does move very quickly, and if he can get on top of you, it's very bad. I might try more riskier strats if I do future runs of this game, because this is very slow. I hate watching it, especially right there, because I just completely missed. So I try to go in for something different, and this room was bad. This was not a good room. That's the thing about live speedruns you have to understand is there's a lot of times where your strategies don't work. The strategies are different. Also, there he gives you the rug. I do not know what the rug is used for. I've never used it once inside the game. I don't know its purpose, and I don't know why a cloud drops it. So right here, I need to push the rock down. If you activate the other rock, it will actually spawn enemies, which is bad. Okay, we have more buzzy bees here. Luckily, they're actually fairly easy to destroy. No problem at all. Here we have fledglings. They're like baby birds, and I can assume there must be with me Avion's children or something. And I find it very cool and kind of ruthless that Zelda, in her infinite wisdom, kills these young, impressionable bird things without a second of remorse. So that just says something about her. Here are one of the few puzzles in the game where I must shoot my bow and hit that little crystal with my bow, and I can advance.
Now
Got more fledglings on this screen.
Oh, it's for us, the
Easy enough to defeat. I believe I do skip. Do I skip this one? Why? Oh, man. I should have skipped those, but in my infinite wisdom, I did not. Alright, here we have Avion, and I made a mistake right there. I went and tried to attack it like the other boss. However, why this boss is significant is the only one that requires the use of a different item. The feather that you got from the creepy guy must be used to defeat this boss. He is the only boss that requires a different weapon other than your wand, and it is bad because the hitbox for the bird is very large, and so is your pimp cane. So you got to make sure you hit it with the feathers, and there we go, it's destroyed. So the story behind the feather is actually that it was a feather dropped by Avion herself flying over Tolomak, and you must use the feather of herself to defeat her. I don't understand, but that is the story. But regardless, we got the third celestial sign, and Gasper's here to say some words.
You are a brave princess indeed. Your quest continues to the northwest, to a place of burial where destiny can be challenged. Remember, nothing is written, Zelda. You alone control your fate, no matter how loud the voices of doom may be.
Oh, Gaspro, what a nice guy. Anyways, the next shrine is the Shrine of Destiny, and it's fairly close here to the Shrine of Air. I believe it's 8 screens to the left and 1 up. So we're going to be following those directions pretty straightforward right here. And the Shrine of Destiny is, in my opinion, like the second hardest dungeon in the game. The first being the Shrine of Water, because the Shrine of Water is largely luck-based a lot of times. But we'll talk about the Shrine of Water later. Right now I want to talk about the Shrine of Destiny. Why the Shrine of Destiny is hard is it has some random aspects to it, and it also has a collection of the worst enemies in the game that include the Gibdo, which are mummies that basically take a lot of hits to defeat. It also has anti-fairies, which are like skulls that bounce off the walls that you cannot damage. You cannot damage them. However, the way they bounce off the walls is bad because the physics in this game don't exist. They'll get stuck in a loop and then all of a sudden just randomly have physics a second at random and bounce off the wall, even though it's stuck inside a loop for maybe like 10 bounces. It's like just completely random. And it also features the Wizrobes, which we've already seen. But in this case, the Wizrobes are standing on a platform above a pit. And if you fall into the pit, you get reset to the beginning of the dungeon. So, we have the worst projectile shooting enemy, enemies that require a lot of hits, and ones that have unpredictable physics, all wrapped up inside the same dungeon. And so the Shrine of Destiny is the second hardest, but the Shrine of Water is just a little bit harder in my opinion. I make a mistake here in that I do open up here. We have a 3 pulse voice inside the first room here, which we need to use, of course, our spell of noise to kill. I screw this up quite bad here. It would have been nice if I could have skipped them, but this guy started to troll the door, so I couldn't get by him, and everything went wrong, and I tried to get inside a better position to kill them, and just bad stuff. I should just ran right there. But I wanted to kill him, see if I could get a heart. And all he gave me was rupees. So that was, in general, a very bad room. And that was also a bad menu right there, because I should have kept my noise spell, which I did. So I went to the menu and then exited without doing anything, which is some wasted time. You need to use that, any sort of projectile to hit the orb across the way. And was that the room where we heard the Shrine King? Oh yes, I'm sorry if I talked over the Shrine King. That was, oh, what is the Shrine King's, Malmord? Yeah, Malmord. That was Malmord, the Shrine King, or Shrine Queen. And I like her a lot. Her full quote there that we didn't get to hear was, something about blah blah blah, for princesses are fools. This is my shrine, and you have to play by my rules. And it's one of my favorite quotes in the game. We got really lucky there. That was an anti-fairy, the one bouncing up against the walls, and the Gibdo were the mummies. Now this room is very, very trolly. This run has killed many, many, many attempts on this dungeon. The best strategy is this: to get them inside a corner and hope that they don't violate your hitbox. But the thing is, every time you kill one of the Gibdo, an anti-fairy spawns, and it's just complete chaos. So that is the worst room inside the game. Well, not worst room inside the game. One of the worst rooms inside the shrine. Here we have like a couple instances of being clever, like trying to avoid traps, platforming, if you will. It's very rare for this game to have platforming, but here we have some where we have to avoid, for example, these spikes, these traps. This room has some Gibdos in it. Again, the strategy for Gibdos is just to whack them until they're dead. They usually behave and not like go past your wand and hurt you. So it's pretty safe usually just to get like this and just like completely own them. They do troll occasionally, but they take a lot of time to kill because they require like, I believe, 5 or 6 hits. So I'm not a huge fan of them. Here I equip the dagger. Here we have a random fact inside the game. There's going to be a wizard on the right and one on the top section. What we need to do is hopefully get them like that, where the second one there gets owned and just doesn't interfere. Because what he can do is that the one on the top can come up right beside you and just completely eviscerate you. It's just horrible. So this is what I was talking about with the wizrobes on the path. If you fall off the path here, you go back to the beginning of the dungeon. So what I do here is I just try to completely destroy them. Luckily they're very helpful in giving me hearts. I make sure I don't fall off there. So I very carefully just... The platforming is very hard here because the floor is slippery as well. So not only do you have to avoid these monsters that are very bad, but you also have to platform on slippery ground where if you fall in, you go back to the beginning of the shrine. It's just a bad news bears all over. I think I skipped this guy. I'm just like, please don't hurt me. He comes in for the attack, though. So I do take my time here. I do make sure that I'm not going to fall off, because falling off would be horrible at this stage in the game. Just lightly tapping the buttons. We have one more room with wizrobes in it, and that's going to be the next one. Not this one, but the next one. And there's a little bit of a random chance for it. The danger isn't really the guy on the right, because he's always going to be in your path of your dagger. But the guy on the bottom can sometimes move and start shooting you very quickly. You'll see what I mean here. And it's all about making sure that you move yourself to keep on destroying the guy in front of you and hoping he doesn't get in your way. Luckily, he behaved that time and derped around, shooting his lasers everywhere. So overall, this was a very good Shrine of Destiny. I had a very bad time inside the Pole's Voice room, which was the first room of the dungeon. But other than that, we were pretty good. In this room, you just have to hit the left and right ones. It doesn't matter which order. Just make sure you don't hit the middle one. Some more birds here. I don't know where they came from. They must be some of Avion's friends. Some anti-fairy spawn, but not a huge deal. And I believe I die at Malmord once. But here's Malmord, the Shrine King. Yeah, and the first thing I do is I walk right inside Malmord's hitbox. The thing about Malmord and what makes it an interesting boss is Malmord will disappear. You can see like the shadow moving on the floor. But even when she's disappeared, she will still have the same hitbox as when she's appeared. But you can't hurt her. You can't hurt her when she's disappeared, but she can hurt you. So it's just all sorts of bad. So Malmord's a pretty tough boss after a very tough dungeon, so not a huge fan of Malmord, but I believe we win on the second attempt. But I can't be sure. We're gonna have to, I'm very interested in watching this beautiful boss battle. Oh, good dodging. Good. She walks right on top of me here, though. That's unfortunate. And there we go. Malmord defeated. So that was the 4th shrine, the Shrine of Destiny. Alright, now here we would listen to Gaspra normally, but as you can hear, there's a sound glitch. Sound glitches happen in this game fairly often, so it's not a huge surprise. It doesn't do anything to the gameplay, it just makes it so all you hear is one repeating sound over and over again. And in this case, we unfortunately got it through this cutscene, so as you can hear in the background, the music's just repeating over and over and over again. So we don't get to hear what Gaspra has to say this time, but we don't really need it anyways. Okay, so the next dungeon is the Shrine of Water. First thing we're going to do, though, before we head to the Shrine of Water, and this is actually helping us get there closer and faster, is what's called a save warp. I believe I talked about this after the Shrine of Rock, but we did one after the Shrine of Rock. It's where you save and quit the game and re-enter the file in order to put you inside a better location, to do something faster. In this case, if you save and quit outside of a dungeon, it'll put you at the starting square where you first began your game. However, if you save and quit inside of a dungeon, it'll put you at the beginning of the dungeon when you re-enter the game, which is pretty clever of them. So we're re-entering. By the way, my file name is My Brand. We had some previous ones. I don't know if not El Minister was there, but he's a cool guy. He's a speedrunner. I don't know what he plays. Does he play Link to the Past? I think he plays Link to the Past. I could be wrong. He used to play the Wind Waker as well, but I think he kind of got tired of that game, so more power to him. So we're going to be heading towards the Moblin Head End. No, we're not going to be going inside the Moblin Inn. We're going to be going past it. There was a cave with some moblins outside it that we originally did not go by, and we do go to it into it this time. So, if you remember at the very beginning of this run, we went to go see Gleb the Thirsty at the before the Shrine of Rock. And then after the Shrine of Rock, we took her picture that she gave us, and we filled it at the water stream, and then gave her the water, and she gave us the wind flask. We'll be using that in a little bit. I just want to remind you. Here we have the pigs that squeal like pigs, or the birds, the ducks. The ducks that squeal like pigs. One of my favorite enemies inside the game. And they are pretty trolly as well, so I make sure to kill them where possible. We can just dodge this guy. Alright, here's some more of the birds. I try to dodge them, and I do take quite a bit of damage. You can see there, that's one of the good example of why I do kill the enemies a lot of times when it doesn't seem like it would be faster. Because right there, I lost quite a bit of health. But I'm okay with losing the health here. I don't know why I killed this enemy. This is a stupid decision of mine. Because coming up soon, we do have an extra heart container that I do get. Because we're heading towards the Shrine of Water, and why the Shrine of Water is the most difficult shrine for me is it is largely luck-based. The first few rooms contain an enemy that are very like the Gibdos, only worse. They take like 6 to 7 hits, I believe, to kill, and meanwhile, they can infiltrate your hitbox, or one of those enemies like the Keese at the very beginning of the game, as well as there's spikes. They're coming out of the walls and whacking you. And so one of the best ways to not get hurt in that room is to walk through all the enemies. So right there is one of the uses of the feather spell, where you can use it to hit a switch that is at a strange angle. We got that extra heart container. So why I get the extra heart containers inside this dungeon, there are a lot of times where I will be walking through enemies or hoping that they will not attack me. So I want to make sure I have high health for this if possible. So getting the extra heart container here is worth it just because it's only like one screen away. So it's fairly quick to get. This game does have a lot of optimizing left to do. While my run is technically the world record, if someone were to pick this up and want to like really, truly get the world record on it, it would be very easy for them to do so. First of all, by not dying at the shrine bosses, by skipping heart containers, and by being more efficient with their equips. However, the game is very rare, so there's few people who are probably going to do that. Here we use the wind flask. Right here, the guy says that he needs wind flask and 20 rupees to let you sail. And you need to sail to get
if you wish to cross the sea, bring us 20 rubies and a vial of wind.
Shrine of Water. And I'm just remembering. Remember when I talked about the cloud guy and how he had a boss death animation? I thought he was one of the only enemies in the game that didn't, that wasn't a boss but had that animation. I just now remembered we have a enemy coming up right here along our little boat ride that actually does have that death animation. So this is pretty boring. I don't know why they put extra screens in here, but that's for them to decide. Anyway, right here we have one of the best battles of all time in this game. It's the battle against Tessie. So we're going to quickly here just try to whack the monster and just completely destroy it. There's really no strategy to this one at all, other than just keep whacking. And we have defeated it. So it did have the boss defeat animation. And we have another empty screen with nothing on it except for sailing. Once again, this game just loves to add load time. I don't know why, but they do. And so out here inside the middle of the ocean, there's there's the Shrine of Water. It's here, I guess. It's called Sea Island. A creative name, as you can see. Very creative. Alright. So, time to show you guys those strats I was talking about before. Where the first room here, with nothing here, of course. But inside the Shrine of Water, the first thing you gotta do is just run. Their spikes, you'll see they'll come out of the wall right there. They can hurt you, and they are fairly dangerous. They do normal damage. Now here, we're just going to try to walk by these guys and try to avoid taking damage. And I got very lucky on this screen, and I only took 1 heart of damage, which is very rare, actually. Usually you can take 2 to 3 hearts of damage easily. But something happened where I got lucky, so that really helped out. And so you notice inside that last room that we were in, we got the plank. We pull out the plank here, and we use it. This is very much similar situation to the knife that we got inside the Shrine of Destiny. Or I believe it was Shrine of Destiny? Well, could be. That could have been an illusion. I'm getting my shrines all mixed up at this point. It's not worth it to fight those guys, so you just want to make sure you beat them back enough so you can get down to the screen loading. Empty room. No problem here. So moving on. Here comes one of the sea kelpies. For lack of a better term, I believe that's what they are called. So you have to use the turquoise ring on them. And the turquoise ring is the thing that we bought at the shop back before the Shrine of Illusion, actually. It's when we went to Great Wimbish, right after we got the raft. And we got it for this purpose only, because the harpies, the sea kelpies can only be destroyed by that. This is another room where you just got to walk through and hope you don't take much damage. I didn't take much damage at all inside that room, so again, we are lucky. Those little red guys, they take a lot of hits, and that's unfortunate. Luckily, that big octo there was very kind to us, and he gave us a heart. there's another Octo here, but he seems to be stuck. No matter what happens to him, he always gets stuck. And when he dies, that heart that he drops is never obtainable. Like, it's just out of reach always. So I knew that, so that's why I didn't even try to grab that heart. I just kept going. Because in most cases, if you see a heart in this game, I grab it. You see that I equipped the turquoise room because I knew the next screen does indeed contain the next sea kelpie, and it takes 4 hits and it moves and it's dead. This shrine is very similar to the Shrine of Rock with Lort's minions. However, you don't have to kill the sea kelpies. They are not required to access the final boss of this area, or the Shrine King. Who's the Shrine King in this one? I forget off the top of my head. Wow. Aguanda, that's it, Aguanda, which is, of course, having a little bit of agua in it. So we're going to move on here and continue through the dungeon. There's Aguanda now.
I know you've come to steal the water of life. You shall not have it while I have substance to fill my form. Be gone!
Alright, Aguanda is again gone, so thank gosh for that. Aguanda was just telling us about how she thinks we're here to steal the water of life and stuff, and we're just after the celestial sign, obviously. Here you have to pull out your raft and use it, which is strange, because before you had to buy the other guy's raft, because apparently your raft isn't good enough. I honestly do not understand some of the things that went on with the decision-making in this game. This guy likes to troll and walk up above, but I can skip him in a lot of cases. And then I died. Alright, so moving on here. Here, I believe, is the beginning of one of the why this dungeon is so hard. We have the woodpecker turtles. We call them the woodpecker turtles. Hopefully they'll make the noise. But I have a strategy for this room, and I hit the wrong button right here. It's to set down the raft, get on it, pull out your wand, and then just look down and whack them. Because they will very often just swim right through the raft and just completely own you. But luckily my strategy there worked. We did take a little bit of damage, but that's not a huge problem. We have even more trolley enemies later on. These woodpecker turtles do the same thing, but we can just whack them back. No trouble there. And so remember when I said that they're different than Lort's minions, the Sardocs, because you don't have to defeat them? So what I do to this sea kelpie is I actually hit it with my wand, even though it doesn't do any damage, but it does freeze it in place. So I do that so it won't actually get close enough to actually hurt me. Now, this is where things get real. These guys are real trolls. The second pair right here. Because there's one on each side, and their hitbox is bigger than they look. So I'm going to take damage here. I just try to rush right through it and get to the thing. I took like 3 hearts of damage right there. Just because they're very strong enemies. No matter how long I whacked them right there, I probably couldn't have defeated them. So it's a bit unfortunate, those enemies. But I do manage to grab a heart here from that big octo. And that's good. And so we're pretty much home free now. The next screen contains the boss Aguanda. I do believe we died to Aguanda once. I believe I died to pretty much every single boss once. Aguanda is the worst boss in the game. It has a projectile attack like that, and I believe it has a pattern, but I cannot remember the pattern, obviously, for the life of me. And there we go, dead. My hands show defeat. Alright, so we're going to have a second shot here at Aguanda. I don't think I die a second time. If I die a second time, that's going to be a little bit depressing to watch back. But I wouldn't be surprised because Aguanda is a very tough boss. So let's just see here. Ooh, I take some damage there. I get hit. Okay. Thing I'm doing very poorly here is, yeah, I think I'm going to die, is judging where Aguanda is going to go, and then standing in direct fire. Okay, second defeat by Aguanda. So the speedrun, like I said, is definitely improvable. It has a lot to be improved. And the reason I'm uploading on YouTube is a lot of times people don't do post-commentary unless it's like a very, very good run, like it's a very low chance they'll be able to succeed at getting a better run, is I feel done with this game, like, for right now, and I wanted to kind of share with you guys speedrunning in general and the mistakes that happen with it. So it's kind of good that I'm doing a more flawed run, but of course a more perfect run would be really cool to watch as well with post-commentary. If you're looking for a good run with post-commentary, I'd recommend watching Cosmo Speedruns. It's his YouTube channel. He did a run of the Wind Waker. Previously it was the world record, but it's no longer. But it's a very good run. It's post-commentated. Just look it up. He also did a live commentary run at Awesome Games Done Quick, which is a speedrunning marathon. I'm going to shut up for Gaspra.
You have overcome great trials, but evil still looms over Ptolemaic, Zelda. Stay true to your journey, for it will bring you closer to young Link, who lies captive to Ganon. I hear tell of a vast fortress of strength and power. Go forward bravely, and you will be victorious.
Okay, so what I was saying right there was Awesome Games Done Quick. It's actually a speedrunning marathon. It ties in also with Summer Games Done Quick, which is the summer version of the marathon. That they do these marathons for charity, usually the Prevent Cancer Foundation, and they do these marathons where they have a whole bunch of speedrunners gather up and do their speedruns with a live commentary, a whole bunch in a row, like over the course of a week. Sometimes more than that. They're very good with their marathons, and so I'd really check them out, as well as, like I said, the run that Cosmo did of Ocarina of Time Any Percent, I believe is what he did there. So re-entering the game here, I did a save warp like we did at the end of the Shrine of Destiny, and that's to get back to the starting screen faster. You'll now notice, of course, we have another heart container for beating the Shrine of Water. Now, I want to mention cutscene skipping now. I think now is a good time. It's a trick that I discovered in the game. It's a glitch that if you hit the menu button as you walk into a celestial sign, you can pause the game before the cutscene goes with Gaspra, and you can actually save warp with the celestial sign back to the beginning of the game. The downside, you do not get the heart container that you usually get, as well as it only usually saves 5 to 10 seconds at best. So overall, it's a trick that it's cool, but it's flawed. All right. So, again, we're heading through this cave. Last time we were here, we accidentally picked up the harp, and I don't know if I actually mentioned what the harp did. I think I was talking about something else at the time. But you get the harp, and you can actually use the harp to warp to the beginning of a dungeon when you're inside of a dungeon. It's very not useful at all, though. So, it doesn't matter if you pick it up or not. It's an unrequired item. Now, we headed through the same cave that we headed through last time that we used to get to the Shrine of Water. But this time, we're going to be taking the right route. Instead of going down towards the Shrine of Water, we're going right towards the forest and towards the Shrine of Power. Here we have more instances of the pigs, the green. They own me right there. Wow. Sorry, I couldn't complete my thought because I was so stunned by how bad I got owned by those green ducks that squeal like pigs. Anyways, here we have some what I like to refer as Moldorms, which are Moldorm is the name of the snake enemy inside of some Zelda games. Majora's Mask is what I'm thinking of in particular. Here we also have River Zolas, which inside past Zelda games shoot things at you, but in this one they just kind of walk around and are all, I'm a lizard. That's really all there is to it. Now coming up here we have something very interesting, and it's called the Yellow Boots. As you know, we got the red boots inside the Shrine of Rock. Oh, this guy.
I'm sorry. Hello there.
I like that guy. He's the surfer dude. Anyway, we're going to be getting the yellow boots upcoming here. And according to what I've read, they are apparently allow you to walk into the domed house. That's all we can figure out what they're used for. You get them anytime you do a run because you walk right past them. And it's like pretty much impossible to avoid them. So I do not know if it's actually possible to skip getting the yellow boots if they're required to beat the game, but I don't think they are, because I still don't know what they even do. You never equip them or anything, just like the red boots. They seem to be a passive item. But we're about to get it. I believe it's on this screen, maybe, perhaps. Yes, right here. So this is what the domed house is, apparently. So I'm not sure. You get those yellow boots, and I guess you can then walk into that house. And when you walk into that house, there's just a person there who says hello to you. I honestly have no idea what the yellow boots are used for. It is still a mystery to me and to many others who watch this game. This guy sells the X bottle we like to refer to as ecstasy. But in fact, it is called repellent, and it's used to get rid of river zolas. I've never purchased it and never used it, so I don't know exactly how it works. But I'm guessing it makes the river zolas not appear, I guess. I'm not sure. Okay, here we have some new enemies, actually. They're pretty standard enemies. They're just like the moblins, except they seem to be smaller, so I refer to them as bokoblins, as a reference to the future enemies inside the Zelda series, which are like smaller moblins. So, what happened before inside a past run of this, I got all the way here to this part of the game, and I ran out of rupees inside the Shrine of Power, because the Shrine of Power requires a lot of rupees, and I'll show you why in just a moment. But however, I ran out of rupees, so right now I was very wary. Look, I got stuck on the side of the screen. I couldn't figure out my way. Apparently I was getting stuck on a part of the tree, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, so we're going to move on here, and we're going to start heading down once we've hit this wall. That guy there, he'll give you coal. If you sell the coal, I believe it gives you 300 rupees. So, a tidbit. And also, apparently a tidbit about this game is apparently you can sell things. I personally didn't even know you could sell things. Right here by the Shrine of Power is actually a fairy fountain, but we don't need to use it since we're so high on hearts right now, so we're going to head directly in. So this is the Shrine of Power right now that we're at. The Shrine of Power is a medieval festival, essentially. The first thing you have to do here is buy the red ribbon. I made a mistake before in trying to find out if we need the red ribbon at all, and in fact you do need the red ribbon, because later you're going to fight the Red Knight, who apparently he will not appear unless you have the red ribbon, and he says one of my favorite quotes in the game involving saying something along the lines of, "You have stolen something of mine." And so what you need to do is you need to buy the red ribbon, because apparently it used to be his ribbon. And so by stealing his ribbon, by buying it, he will appear to battle you. I don't quite understand. Here is an item that is required to get in the game. Right here, this lady is talking about how she wants you to draw water from the well for her. And so you just need to whack the well until it comes out. And once you've done that, she will give you the necklace. The necklace is one of the most overlooked items, in my opinion, because I missed it on my first run. I got all the way to the final dungeon and realized I needed to get the necklace. It is used to defeat one enemy. It is used to defeat the last enemy in the game before the final boss. Well, before the boss of the Shrine of Fire. So it was like completely stupid of me to forget it. But it's so silly that we did forget it. Here, you have to hit those two switches. I don't remember why, but I know you do, so I do it. It also gives you the club. You never use the club. I don't know what the club is used for. That's pretty much all of the items in this game. A lot of times they'll just give them to you, and you don't even know why. Here we buy a ticket. We need that to ride in the joust, even though we don't have a horse. And we will not ride on a horse, but instead we will equip our lance. So remember a long time ago, before the Shrine of Illusion, where we got the lance? Well, here is where we use it. So you need to have this. We have upcoming here a quote, pretty much my favorite quote in the game, for sure. And it's a long-running Zelda-thon reference, so I'll shut up and let you hear this guy.
Hold tight, little enemy. You have something stolen from me, and I am strong.
So, there you are. You have hold tight, little enemy. You have stolen something of mine, and I am strong. So that's one of my favorite quotes in the game. Alright, so now we have to just basically find our way to the end of the dungeon. It's pretty straightforward from here. However, there are other knights that we have to defeat. The yellow knight and the blue knight, I do believe, are the colors. But that's not a huge deal. Do I make the mistake here? No, I don't think I make the mistake here. What am I doing? I'm equipping the lance. Why did I equip the lance? Not sure why I equipped the lance. That was actually a bad equip right there. But you have to hit that that spike ball from afar to win. To win. You have to hit it, and then the things will appear. Sorry if my explanation is starting to wane. Oh, and do I unequip my money here? I think that's a poor choice. No? Okay, I don't. So anyway, we have the block puzzle here. This is the block puzzle of the video game. There we go. I hope you guys enjoyed that block puzzle. This game doesn't quite match up to the other Zeldas inside the terms of block puzzles, but whatever. One thing I'd like to mention is about this game, and it is that a lot of people give it a lot of crap. And yes, it's a bad game. It's not a very good Zelda game, but people don't give it a lot of crap when they haven't ever played it or seen it played in full before, which I find very insulting, because this game has a lot of humorous things. It has a lot of humorous quotes. The shrines are interesting, and in general, I don't think it's a horrible game. I think it's a bad game, yes, but I don't think that people give enough credit. There's a lot of people who like I've seen on the Zelda Reddit, the subreddit. I'll be posting the speedrun to it as well in hopes that people watch this all the way through. People haven't really given the game a chance. Like, I've seen people post something about this game, and instantly it is like rejected by the people like, wow, why would you ever play that game? And in all honesty, it's a pretty fun game to play through. I mean, if you know what you're doing, and you're like, you know what items you need to do, and I mean, if you were playing this game completely unaided, I would see how you'd have frustrations. However, in this case, you don't have to go unaided. It's pretty fun to play through, in my opinion. And it's a short enough game, in my opinion. How many times did I say in my opinion? I think I said it a lot. Alright, these knights here are not required. The next screen has knights that are required, but I find it better to try to get rid of them because they do move pretty fast, and it was a poor decision in that case because they took down my hearts quite a bit, and that's unfortunate. Alright, so these guys are in our way, but we'll show them what for. No problem, and they give us a heart, so that's good. An empty room here, and a yawn from me. And I believe here we have the boss. Yes, okay, this is, it starts with Ursa, it's Ursalong or something. It's related to Ursa, which is like, a bear. And I do believe we died to the bear once. However, I'd like to mention the broadsword, which I used against the other two knights, the yellow knight and the blue knight. I didn't get a chance to mention it because I was talking about the Zelda subreddit and such things as that. But in fact, I find it very interesting that you had to use the broadsword on them. And remember, we got the broadsword from Sir Basil before the Shrine of Illusion as well. So all these items that you thought I was getting, I was like, wow, this seems kind of useless. Wow, I beat him first try. Good. Very good. Also, this is the only celestial stone that you have to get from above. I don't know why you have to get it from above, but it is required. Like, you cannot get it from below. Anyway, so let's grab the next celestial stone. And remember when we got the 2 compass and I said we use it later inside the game to save some time? We're about to do just that after this cutscene. I'm talking over Gasper.
We're close. Our journey will carry you far to the northwest, where many say there's a rumble in the earth and a glow of fire.
Okay, so yeah, we're going to use the 2 compass here to get quicker to the Shrine of Fire. The Shrine of Fire is up by where we found the lance, and it's the Shrine of Fire is pretty easy. Like we have pretty much after being the Shrine of Water, it's easy streak to the end of the game. So we're going to open up our menu. pull out the 2 compass, and we're going to use it. And this is one of the biggest time savers in the game, because any other way requires a lot of walking. And so that takes us right outside the Shrine of Illusion. Now it's all about battling our way to the Shrine of Fire. It does take a little bit of walking here, but that's pretty much it. We only have about 13 minutes, less than that, on the speed run. So, just to give you an idea of how fast the Shrine of Fire goes. And then we also have a boss gauntlet in this game. After you beat all of the shrines, you actually have a boss gauntlet, and then you battle Ganon himself. And again, would like to recommend that Ganon is spelled like that in this game, even though it's incorrect in the rest of the series. So, don't get on me about that. This is accurate to this game. Here we have those spiders again that like to troll. Luckily, they were pretty kind to us this time. And we're going to try to ignore them. Also coming up here, we have one of the worst enemies actually in the game. I know I say that a lot about a lot of the enemies, but this one, it does ramp up the difficulty of these enemies here pretty soon. And that is what I like to refer to as the fire lizards. They look like scorpions, and they shoot fireballs. And like I've said before, anything that shoots projectiles in this game is bad. It's very bad. So they do a lot of damage as well. Like, they do more damage than normal enemies. We also have these enemies, which I've already stated how much I don't like them. I believe this is the first instance of fire lizards. No, not quite yet. You can see how sometimes how hard it is just to navigate the terrain in this game. Okay, nope. I thought that was... Wow, apparently they don't appear as fast as I thought they did. Oh, this guy.
A customer at last.
I feel so bad for that guy. Oh, a customer! And then you walk away. Okay, here's the fire lizards. See, that guy hit me, and he took away a heart and a half, I believe. Just like, bam, right like that. So he's powerful. We do have some of these guys. No problem, though. Walk right on through. More fire lizards. This one I believe I try to kill. And they do take a few hits, but as you can see, when they hit you, they hit hard, and I don't like those enemies at all for that reason. Alright, we're only one screen away right now. Like that lava pool that they made. It's pretty legit. Alright, so here we go. Entering right now into the Shrine of Fire. With only about 10 minutes left to beat the game. So this dungeon is fairly straightforward. It's just about getting to the end. There's also the blacksmiths, which again are some like Lord's enemies or the sea kelpies, but they can just be defeated normally with a wand. So that was Blacksmith. I hope you enjoyed him. He has a brother though.
Feel the tip of my spears and tell me they are the finest in Tolman.
And right here I make a goof, and I can't get over there, which is a bit unfortunate. But we walk around, and we don't need the 8th compass, although you get it there inside that room if you were interested inside it. Lots of guys in this room. I decided to kill them since they're pretty easy enemies. Hopefully to get hearts. But alas, all we get is rupees. You also get the map in that room, which is weird because you get the compass inside the previous one. Usually it goes... map then compass, but for some reason this shrine is weird. You had to defeat those enemies to open up the door, so we do defeat them. I love those fireballs. They go pew pew. Maybe this game does make me go a little insane, just a little, but overall it's a fun game to play and speedrun. Although there are many other games that are more fun to play and to speedrun. Alright now, We have to defeat these buzzy bees inside this room to advance past the fire, so we do just that. Just quickly defeat them and move on. The Shrine of Fire is really boring, and I don't know why. Oh, wait.
Further you will not go. You have not the fire in the belly to do else but obey me.
And so that was Warbane, the boss of the Shrine of Fire. Now, what I find really interesting about this dungeon is why it's so boring, in my opinion. It's because the developers got lazy at the end of the game, and like the difficulty of this, it just dropped off. Like, look, there's entire rooms without any enemies. Like, those 3 rooms in a row without any enemies. And then this one just has some birds in it, and you can just they're weak. They're not challenging. And I thought at the end of the game they would have done more, but last they didn't. And then they started reusing bears, and they're completely easy to defeat. These bears, they're not like the boss of the Shrine of Power, Earthsong or whatever. You just whack them. I think Earthsong's a Pokemon. Whatever. That's the only boss name I can ever remember. This guy's Warbane, the dragon. I like Warbane. He's a cool boss. Another empty room. Just more empty rooms in this game. I tell you, I honestly have no idea what they were thinking. We have monkeys here, though. Monkeys. Monkey. They shoot fireballs. Fire chimps. I still have no idea what in the world is going on.
Let no one say my welcome is not a warm one. Do you still want my celestial sign, timid one?
Alright, that was Warbane again. Just taunting us further. Okay, now, I believe this is the room right here. Okay, this is where my previous run ended. Because to defeat this guy, you need to use the necklace. You have to use the necklace to defeat him. No other item will ever work on him. You hit him 4 times with it, and he's dead. And you're free to move on to the boss. So here we go, is the battle against Warbane.
The sign is rightly my own.
Warbane is pretty simple, just like the other bosses, just moves around. Doesn't shoot projectiles or anything, but it does walk on top of you and does do a lot of damage. The Warbane does, I believe, 2 hearts of damage every time you get hit by it. And I believe I might die here. Oh, no, I didn't die yet. But do I survive? No, I do not. I do have to battle Warbane a second time. So again, I'd encourage anybody who is interested in running this game, please do it. I would love to actually do races against people in this game. It's a very simple game to learn. I mean, basically, you've learned everything you can by watching this this commentary. There is nothing else. There is nothing else to learn, and that's like there's nothing else. I mean, you can keep helping searching this game, but you can find better ways to do things, better routes. I encourage you to do that, and I'd be more than interested in playing with other people in this game. Alright, time to collect the 7 celestial sign. But wait, oh no!
Zelda, life is always one order more horrifying than you expect. The great evil Ganon spoiled your victory. Make haste. Do not let him out of your sight.
And we fall in. That's actually the starting area right there, if you didn't know, by the rock formations. You fall into the big pit. Apparently where you started the game was like there was a pit underneath it, and you have to collect the celestial signs to open it or something to access Ganon. I don't know. Regardless, it's time for the boss gauntlet. So here's Lort. Basically, the boss gauntlet is very simple. You don't actually have to face the boss again. You just have to whack images of the bosses. And then this thing appears. We don't know what this is, but it appears and it blinks and it floats around, and I do my happy dance. And then once it leaves the screen, it you know, goes to the next boss. So here's Pasquinade. Pasquinade usually tricks me. during the normal fight, but in this one we're okay. I never noticed the floor tiles and how magical they are. That's pretty cool. Next up, we have Avian, who you still have to defeat with the feather, but she dies in 1 hit. Actually, I believe that's 2 hits, technically. But regardless, Avian is dead. Now, next up, you would normally face... well, you do face... whatever this person was. It starts with More, I believe. I forgot the boss's name. If you haven't told, I've recorded this commentary in a few parts. But yeah, whatever. And it drops a whole bunch of these bugs, and they give you hearts as if you need to restock. And I got hit there by one of them. All stupidly, but I didn't actually take any damage. So that was basically a restocking station. And then you have to face Agwanda. And Agwanda's usually pretty bad, but I got lucky that time. And for some reason, you don't fight Ursong, or whatever its name was again. You skip that boss for whatever reason, and you go directly to Warbane. And Warbane can troll you pretty bad, because if Warbane goes over you, you take a lot of damage. And Warbane's pattern is strange. So that was the boss gauntlet, which means we only have one more guy remaining, and that is Ganon himself. So here he comes. He's coming to rough us up. Hopefully we can defeat him, and we're going to end the time directly when we hit him for the last time, and he begins his death animation. So the strategy for Ganon is very simple. He appears, you get out of his way, and then you whack him. And if you hit him once while his arm is down, before he does his electric attack, you can usually hit him a second time. Which is pretty cool. I screwed it up right there. And basically the only way to die inside this battle is if he appears on top of you multiple times, which is just unlucky most of the time. Or if he hits you with his arm. That's happened to me before. I've gotten whacked by his arm. But usually the electric attacks don't do anything to you, because you usually need to stay outside the top of the screen and not go near the bottom. There we go. We show Warbane. Warbane, this is Ganon. This is Ganon. Alright. He does take quite a while to kill, of course, because he is a final boss, but he doesn't have multiple forms or anything. There he goes, he's dead. Final time. 137.11. Alright, so that was Zelda's Adventure Speedrun. Again, I encourage everybody to check out this game. If you have a chance to buy the game and maybe speedrun it and play with me, that'd be more than great. But if not, don't worry. I'd recommend you speedrun any game that you find enjoyable or interesting. Check out speedrunslive.com. They do races and live streams. That's one of the best ways to learn how to do speedrunning of certain games that you may like. Take a look over there. I'd recommend you check out Speed Demos Archive. They host a whole bunch of speedruns on their website. A warning though, they're not always the fastest inside the world, because they do a lot of checking on those runs.
Princess Zelda, you've succeeded. Your victory has brought peace and light back to Ptolemac. Your courage and strength will not be forgotten. For now, your work is done. Off you go to celebrate Link's return. But first, remember, lessons of the heart, mercy and human kindness prevail. Above all else, farewell, young princess.
Alright, so those were some kind words from Gasper. But again, Speed Demos Archive is a great website to check out to see some speedruns. But again, warning, they are not always the fastest side of the world, because they do a lot of checking on them, and so what may be the fast run may not always be on their website. But that's not always the rule. There's exceptions to the rule, and of course, a lot of situations. Anyway, and I'd also recommend you check out Me. If you're not already subscribed to me, I guess that'd be cool. And I do live speedruns. I do live gameplay and all sorts of stuff at my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/SuperMCGamer. I'd recommend sharing this run with your friends, I guess. Be like, hey, you know that horrible Zelda game? No, because I blocked it from my memory. Well, here it is, in 1 hour and 37 minutes and 11 seconds. Enjoy. These people here, I'm showing their names because they want me to, obviously. I've always wanted to talk to some of these developers. I think it would be very interesting, especially the people who named all the enemies, or maybe have all the graphics. Jim Belcher! He's a cool guy, with his name that involves belching. Poor guy. But that's all. I'm going to let you guys listen to the rest of the music. Thank you for watching the speedrun, and I will talk to you guys on my next video.